all, I'd like to say that I've been asking people what they found to be the most memorable thing that we've seen, what really meant a lot to people. And I'd like to say that the things that meant the most to me were the personal ones. The things that Rabbi Adler took us through, like the Tarnov, the death of his great-grandmother. Right. And that moved me beyond words because it was personal and it was his pain. And I'd like to say that on the 11th of Av, it's going to be the yortzeit of a very good friend of my mother's on Hashanah. My mother's yortzeit was last week. I didn't speak about it. I wanted to. But my mother had nothing to do with Poland. But her neighbor, when I was growing up, was Farla Weinstock. And her sister, Dina Weinstock, was an Auschwitz survivor. And I just wanted to say a few words, having now been to Auschwitz and revisited what Dina went through. I just wanted to share a few things with you. Dina was a very strong, tiny little lady, a little ball of fire, who got into Auschwitz and swore that she was going to get her revenge on Hitler. And her husband was a great big guy, stood in the corner apparently in the camp and died. And she swore she's going to get revenge on Hitler and she's going to testify after the war and put those people in prison or have them executed. And she did. She survived Auschwitz, she went to Nuremberg, she testified. And she came to England to live with her sister Farla, who never married. And Farla was my mother's friend, so I know a lot about them personally. Dina was deeply religious, and she had this tremendous desire for revenge against Hitler. And the thing that strikes me most is one day we went to visit her. I had 3 small children, and I had my son who was in school uniform. He must have been about 5. And Dina could hardly see. Dina had escaped from one of the camps, I don't know which one, and then they put her in Auschwitz. And Dina was mostly blind. And her sister Farla said, look, Linda's children are in Jewish schools. And Dina said, this is my revenge on Hitler. Sure. Jewish education, Jewish children in Jewish schools. So even more than the revenge that she got from testifying at Nuremberg, she felt this was the essence of her revenge. And Dina has been a role model for me for years. And also Farla, who after the death of Dina, all their family had died without any children except for one brother in America. What we didn't know was how rich they were. Apparently Dina had dabbled on the stock exchange. I don't know if she had reparations or if they managed to get money from before the war. They had millions. We were so shocked. Farla went to Sharet Zedek. She opened, I think it's the emergency room there. There's a pediatric oncology unit in one of the hospitals. Laniado Hospital, I had to go and visit a friend, and I saw Dina and Farla Weinstock in great big letters. And I'm like, what? These people were so modest and so quiet, and where did they get this money? And Farla wanted to bequeath all this money for medicine in Israel. Wow. And this is the legacy that the Weinstock family have left behind. And I must say, Barbara has inspired me by writing this book about her father, and someone needs to write about the Weinstocks, and I would very much like to do some research. I don't know which camp Dina escaped from, how she escaped, how she got into Auschwitz, how she survived Auschwitz, and how she got to England.
She's still alive? She's still alive?
No. Maybe. So her yacht site is in Kislev, and Farla's yacht site is coming up on the 11th of Av. So I just wanted to commemorate her and to give her a little bit of a hesped because there's no one else to do it.
Wow, thank you.
Did they have a modest home in London?
They lived like you were a little semi-detached house, and they didn't dress finely or anything. You would
The wealthier,
never know.
the more. Look at what's his name.
Millions. Almost every hospital in Jerusalem has got. You know, the gastroenterology department of Shaare Zedek, it says, Dina Avala Weinstock. I tell you, what's this? Where did this come from?
Amazing.
And David Krasner, who's a personal friend of ours, is the trustee, and he's administered all this money and organized it. He's a doctor. He was their doctor, and he arranged for all this money to go into the hospitals.
Fantastic.
Warren Buffett of Omaha, Nebraska, one of the top 2 or 3 wealthiest people in the world, still lives in his little modest home.
Right.
That happens over and over again. They don't need to show anybody anything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, Linda, amazing.
So what
Amazing.
They lived in London? What neighborhood? The northern line back close to
The northern line, yes.
The black on the mark.
Yeah.
Black on the map.
That's right. Yeah.
Linda, thank you.
Okay.